Thanks for stopping by. Welcome to the channel. Had to wait on some Amazon deliveries and we had a cold snap. Today we'll check out the coil pack and spark plugs and also make sure the fuel rail and fuel injectors are working. Luckily old engines like this only need 3 things: spark, gas, and air, and they'll usually work. Well, let's make sure it's got all those things. The first thing I'm going to do here is pull off the coil pack and check the spark plugs, then make sure everything is getting power. An engine definitely won't start without spark. Awesome. Oh, nice. Someone put anti-seize on these. Well, that's probably why they're coming out so easy. I assume the rest of the Jeep will not be that easy. Pull our heater lines out of the way here a little bit. There you go. This looks pretty dang new. Oh, come on out of there. This coil pack looks brand new. There's dielectric grease in here. Those spark plugs look new as well. Let's pull one out just to make sure. While maybe not brand new, that is a pretty nice looking spark plug. We'll test this the quick but slightly less dirty way. You can take your spark plug and just bump it against the frame or anything that's grounded and it should spark. I tend to use jumper cables. I'll put this on the negative and then put the other negative on here just to make sure we're getting a really good connection. We'll do that real quick. We've got the negative going from the battery to the spark plug. I really need to get a taller tripod mount. Then we'll just turn the engine over and this should spark at the end here. Yeah! Well, we have spark. Now we need to confirm that we're getting fuel. We're going to pull the fuel rail off and test the injectors. First, given the rust we got here, we're gonna give them some of this. A whole lot. We'll just kind of spray everything while we're here, I think. That's let that sit for a bit. Maybe look forward to future self. That probably needs to come off at some point. I don't assume the valve, oh Lord, maybe we should clean that out first too. You know, just give everything a little spray. Ooh. There's still some metal there. All right, let's let that sit and think about things for a minute. That's all that doesn't need. Yep, you probably just spray all that down too. All right, we let it soak for a bit. You're gonna need a tall boy 10 here to get at some of these weird nuts. Now let's get this thing ripped off. Well, that's not what I anticipated. This screws down into the motor, and there's just an adjustable nut to keep this tight. Oh, that one's on a little tougher. With how rusted this is, gonna make sure I'm real careful and not break any of these bolts that go directly into the engine. I had a mic failure here, so you get some voiceover. I decided to get the shop back out and clean up things a bit, just making sure the engine doesn't get full of debris when I pull this stuff off. There's a lot of stuff on top of the engine. Next is taking the clips off the fuel injectors. Some of them are very rusted. I decided it was a good idea to take off the throttle cable and the bracket. They were very in the way. It's just 2 bolts, and then unclipping the throttle cable and spring. After that, the fight to get the fuel injectors out of the engine began. Usually it isn't this hard, but the fuel injectors ended up rusting and were swollen, so they wouldn't come out easily. Well, we got the fuel injectors all cleaned off here. I'll bring you in a little closer here, show you why these aren't working. There we go. Oh, a little light. So these have rusted bad enough that they've completely cracked, which means the inside tube has also swollen. So there's definitely no gas going through these. All of them have varying degrees of it. This is probably the least bad. There's just a little crack right there, but that also means it's swollen inside. There's no use in really even testing these with them this rusted and swollen. They aren't gonna work. Get a new set of these ordered and install them. I was gonna rebuild them, but that's beyond rebuilding. Got the new injectors in from Amazon. They are the closest thing I could find that weren't $300. There are some differences here though. The bowl is much larger. The outer diameter is also larger. The gaskets at least are the same size. And then same problem with the other end. The output is a little bigger. The hole is the same size though, and the gasket is also the same size. Only one way to find out if they work, and that's put them in. Back at the fuel rail here, we're just gonna stick these in. It's pretty easy to do. Come on in. Given how old and rusty this is, we're gonna put a dab of motor oil on the gasket, help it slide in there. Just a dab though, we're not doing a whoop. Got a little dipping tray. Put our barbecue. So we'll just dip a little, just a little. Just enough to help that slide just a tiny bit. Yeah, we'll rock it back and forth and maybe get that pushed in there. Maybe not. Oh, this is going to be rough if these are all this hard to get in here. Whew. I'm going to clean this out with some throttle body cleaner. Let her sit a little. Not great to have that all over my hands. There, that one's in. Oh, that one went in so easy. Oh, yeah, it's just too swollen from. Oh. Whoo! Ooh, I'm gonna go get some sandpaper, I think, and see if I can take a little material off. Probably not the greatest idea, but this is also, it's not a daily driver. We're just cruising this boy around, so be right back. Got a little sandpaper and a pen, using the most high-tech of things. Gonna just come in here and give this a little bit of some of that. It fit well in the other ones. This was also the worst injector. There we go. Let's see if we got enough out here. We'll give it a clean. Yeah, let's see if that goes in there. Yeah, good enough to get the clip on. Gonna just put the old clips on. Ordered some, but they're just taking too long to get here. Get these on another day. For now, we'll just use the old ones. Some of them aren't in that bad of shape. That's how easy that is. We'll find out. Turns out the one covered in oil is the only one not completely rusted. Ugh. Gonna give this one a little help fitting in there maybe. Oh yeah, way easier. Gonna try to do the same here. The engine block shouldn't have swelled, so hopefully they just go in a little better on that side. Nope. That one started to try and go in. That one maybe went in a little. That one's further in than it was. Yeah, we got 2.5 sort of going in. That one's sort of going in. All right, we're getting somewhere. The mounting point is clear against the engine block here, which means these are all the way in. Little less. Then this one isn't even close, so we still got to get it in just a bit more. I won't right in. I know you're not necessarily supposed to do it like this, but there we go. I feel much better about that. They're all in now. I will plug all our connectors back in. I'm not going to lock them quite yet until we make sure all this works, because these locks are really hard to get undone. Probably should have tested these while they were out of there, but of course the one that's the hardest to get to doesn't want to go in. Oh, there it went. Okay. Just given the rustiness of this engine, I'm going to just start oiling bolts as I put them back in. So if I have to take them back out, there's slightly less seized this time. $10 mil out here. Get this back to torque, which is, it's kind of tight. Yep, good enough. We'll get the throttle reconnected here too. Click, click. Click, click. All right, got it all put back together. Gonna hop inside. Let's see if it starts. after doing some troubleshooting on the fuel injectors and finally pulling one out, the fuel rail is dry. That means either the fuel line is clogged somewhere or the fuel pump in the back isn't pumping at all. As I was cycling the engine, I never heard it click on, so I feel like that's our problem. That sounds like an adventure for the next video though. We at least know that we have spark for sure and that the old fuel injectors were very bad. So now we've just got to get gas from the tank up to here and it should start finally. Let me know down in the comments if you got any ideas. Finally, without fuel, it's hard to go on an adventure, so go on a walk and see the stars!